Welcome back, everybody, and I hope you enjoyed your lunch. And thank you very much, Chloe and Zinni, for setting out some of the PBS protocols and ways of working in the Dimensions Behaviour Support team. The process starts when a referral is received to the Dimensions Business Development team. We then meet and agree a plan to assess the person's needs, wants, and wishes. We spend several days in the hospital observing and getting to know the person and the team. This is so that we can find out what that person would like their life to be and how we can support them to live that life. One of the things we do is to write up a functional behaviour assessment. That involves time spent with the person, with the person's family, and with the person's support team. We note down what sort of support would be successful and what sort of support would enable that person to live with happiness in the community. In a recent case, I did a functional behaviour assessment and we identified that the person engaged in some behaviour such as grabbing hold of people's clothing and arms, biting others, and this did cause severe injury to the support team in the hospital. The functional assessment showed the person was communicating, I want to go through this door. I want that food. I want some distance from you. This led to some recommendations. The person wanted lots of space, and we needed to give that to them. The person wanted free access without locked doors or restrictions. The person would really benefit from some communication support to request items that they wanted. Alongside this, Dimensions started building relationships with the person's family. We wanted to know, what would a great life look like for this person in the community? And it was great to see how we could develop plans to make sure family members could visit the person regularly and build lovely routines like sharing meals together or just dropping in for a chat. The person had lived for 20 years in a low, secure hospital, and this meant the family had spent a long time making very long journeys, 200 or 300 miles, to visit their relative. This was all going to change with a move into the community. We created, in partnership with the person and the person's family and the person's support, a positive behaviour support plan, and this had a few different elements. As you can see, we used pictures. We were teaching the person to request using pictures. We began modelling and reinforcing the person's speech more often. And with the help of the family consultants, used Makaton sign language to be clear about what the person wanted and what they wanted to choose. Another really important element to the person's positive behaviour support plan was lots of freedom and space. We installed gym equipment, a giant trampoline, physio balls, and lots of things to throw around and enjoy playing with and interacting with in the person's home. This again linked to the findings of the functional behaviour assessment, where we were discovering what would make life good for the person. The final element of the positive behaviour support plan was thinking about safety. We created some guidance for grabbing. One of the things we noticed was the staff and support team around the person should stay loose if they were grabbed, and actually allow clothing to be ripped away rather than resisting in order to reduce the risk of injury. We specified some protective clothing to protect against injury arising from bites, but in the end, by giving the person lots of space and listening to their early warning signs, this was not used in the end. The most important part of this safety plan was seeing the support team build trust and relationships with the person, and this ended up reducing signs of distress. We knew that if we left the person when they told us that they needed space, this would actually help bring an incident of distress to a close much quicker and safer. Alongside the PBS plan, lots of work was done with the family and with the Dimensions housing team to create a safe environment. You use things like safety glass, exercise equipment. For support team members, rapid exit points using fob access. Toughened furniture was specified, as well as a minimalist design, which was the person's preference. We also used easy clean surfaces. These specialist adaptations focus on giving the person lots of room and reducing risks from thrown items. And we found that actually the risks arising from physical aggression were greatly removed by having plenty of space to move in. Here's an example of some housing adaptations. You can see the tough furniture environment, but also how it looks quite homely as well. The television is protected in case of tipping or throwing. You could also see how we've used some rather nice looking plates, but you won't be able to see from the picture that these are actually plastic plates which wouldn't break if thrown. To make the service work and the support work for this person in their home, we made sure we had a specialist management team who are used to supporting people to move out of hospitals. There were team leader positions, and the team were matched in their interests to support the person. There was a high ratio of support, 3-to-1 at first. We gave the team autism training, PBS awareness, hackathon training, picture exchange communication system on-job coaching, and a training in understanding the person's life, needs, and behaviour. Arrangements were made for transition. The support team travelled to visit the person, and bear in mind this was a journey of around 300 miles. 10 members of the team visited the person to help get to know the person, spending at least 2 days each. During this time, they also received training from the hospital staff. We also provided training from the Dimensions PBS team and the local community learning disability team. We used an induction checklist like this one to make sure that we got everything right during the transition. Here you can see a typical induction form that is used to make sure the support team get to know the key parts of the person's routine, as well as receive the important training they need. In the first weeks and months, we have monthly meetings with the occupational therapist and speech and language therapists. There are also weekly monitoring meetings with chaired by the clinical director, the regional managing director, the operations director, the PBS practitioners, and the locality managers and the support team and the family. During these meetings, we measure and take note of quality of life outcomes, such as, is the person smiling more? And do they seem more comfortable in their house? We have the PBS team during these first weeks and months on site modelling the PBS plan, and the manager on site 5 days a week. Team leaders also help decision making on every shift. And there we go. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight into how we plan things and how we make successes of the move from hospital placements into an ordinary life, a good life in the community. Thanks very much.